going on YouTube? I'm Brandon, aka Broken Ocean, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this sound right here. And there is some post-processing, so here's what it sounds like without. But yeah, that is a filthy, grimy, it's an FM frequency modulation bass, whatever you want to call it, and it is done in Serum. So, I'm going to be showing you how to make that today, but before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel and also smash that thumbs up button if you do enjoy this video. If not, then just hit the thumbs down button, you know, tell me to fuck off, whatever. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, if you have any requests for videos, please let me know, and yeah. We're gonna get started. So, like I said, this is all done in Serum, and it's pretty simple to make. And then, you know, like I said, I was using some post-processing, which I can kind of touch on afterwards. But let's get into the sound design portion of this, because there is a lot going on here. And just to save time, I am just gonna turn everything off and then turn it on one by one as we go. So if I am moving too fast, you can either slow down the speed, you can slow down the playback speed, or just pause it, and try to copy everything. Okay. So, first things first, if you go ahead and open up Serum, initialize the preset, and what we're going to do first is set up our LFO shapes. So for LFO1, I got this parabola looking thing set to trigger mode, and the rate is set to 1 bar. And I also have macro 1. If you take macro 1, drag that onto the rate and bring it up 36. For LFO 2, trigger mode, 1 bar rate, and then I just made a shape similar to this. You can make a shape like this. Basically, this is just for your pitch modulation, which we'll get into later. But we're just setting it up for now. This is going to be our main LFO for our filter and everything else. So now that we got that set up, we can go ahead and we'll set up our voicing first. Go to the voicing tab, click mono, and then choose the port aumento time, bring it up to 43 milliseconds. So there's just like a slight glide between notes, and then choose always. So for oscillator A, we're going to go to analog, DS, saw, and try, which is saw in a triangle. I don't know what the DS stands for, to be honest with you. It's probably something simple that I know, I just don't know if that made sense. Turn it down an octave, bring the unison up to 2, so we got 2 voices, very slightly detuned to 0.02, which again just kind of makes it sound a little wider, more stereo. The blend, it's not going to do anything, so don't worry about that. The phase is going to stay at 180, and the random is going to be all the way down. Wavetable position we can leave at 1. And we're going to choose frequency modulation from B for our warp mode. Bring it up to 21% and then modulate that up about 34 with LFO1. You're going to notice that there is a sweet spot. Don't worry about it now. Just set it to 34 and then we can tweak it later. The level is going to be brought down to about 48 to 50%. And then we're going to modulate that up all the way with LFO1. So far, it's not going to sound like anything, but don't worry, it's gonna all come together very soon. All right, so oscillator B, we are going to go to analog and basic shapes. And what we are going to do here, we are going to go to, click on this pencil, and we're going to edit this wavetable. Literally all we're doing is deleting 4, 5, and 6, so get rid of all of these saw wavetables. And by doing so, you just shift-click 4 to 6, and then remove multi-selection. And this will all make sense in a little bit, but basically we just want these 4 wavetables. So we're going to turn on our sync mode for the warp mode. We're going to drag LFO1 on there, modulate it up 34. And then we're going to take macro 3 also onto the sync knob and bring it up 18. And now I actually have some automation drawn in for the sync and LFO knob in Ableton right here. So yeah, that's going to be definitely a key part to the sound, which I'll explain in a little bit. But yeah, so then make sure you turn the level all the way down for oscillator B. And then, I don't know if I already said this, but oscillator A is down 1 octave, and then oscillator B is up 1 octave. And so far, it's kind of starting to come together a little bit. And before we move any further, let's go ahead and take our 4th macro and drag this onto the wavetable position of oscillator B and bring it up all the way. So this is why I actually deleted the square waves. This is kind of more, this is like a timbre knob as well. It'll slightly change the sound a bit. Right now, it's really not going to make a huge difference, but later on, after the sound is complete, each of these wavetables get the sine, the saw, the triangle, and then the, I don't know if what the last one's called. It's like a saw triangle, something, I don't fucking know. But basically, those are the only ones that really seem to work well with this patch. The square waves just kind of destroyed the sound, so I took them out. So yeah, so we got that all set up, and next we're gonna let's add our sub oscillator to get that out of the way. Turn our sub on, level all the way down, modulate it up all the way with LFO 1, and then we're gonna turn that down an octave, and then, like I said, just leave it on the sine wave. So we got that. Next, we're gonna add our filter. Go to the multis, high peak 12, and make sure you got that routed. Make sure you got oscillator A routing through the filter. B won't matter if you turn it on or not, because essentially oscillator B is going through oscillator A. So basically oscillator B doesn't have an independent output. So then we're going to turn the cutoff all the way down to 8 hertz and then modulate that up 55 with LFO 1. The resonance is going to be about 18. The drive at 13, and the frequency of the peak is going to be all the way up at 100%. So far, you should get something similar to that, and that's pretty much it. I mean, we got to add some effects still, but that is the basics. Those are the basics of the sound. So let's get into our effects tab here. We're gonna add some dimension expansion, hyper dimension expansion. Turn the detune up to 25%, mix at 16. For the dimension expander, turn the mix down to 0, or the size down to 0, and the mix up to 37. We're gonna add some compression, multiband to be specific. Turn that on. Leave everything the same except for the gain. Turn the gain up to 4.8, and then make sure you select multiband mode. We're going to turn the high band up to 135, the mid up to 200, and the low to 180. And now for the EQ. Turn that on. We got 2 peak notches, bell curve, whatever you want to call them. We got 2 of them. The first one, the frequency down at 22 hertz. Modulated up about 40 with LFO 1. The bandwidth is set to 46, and the gain is set to 6.1 dB. The second one, we're going to turn up all the way to 20,000 and modulate that down 39 with LFO 1. The bandwidth at 44%, and the gain at 48. So I'm not really going to get into the explanation behind this, but a good technique to use to, you know, kind of bring your sound to life is to get these 2 peaks essentially modulating, you know, towards each other. It has a real cool effect, and it doesn't always work, but it definitely, you know, for this particular sound, it just added the right movement and brought out the right frequencies. But it usually works nice when they just meet in the middle, and it's just enough. Alright, so then we're going to add some plate reverb. Make sure you choose plate mode. Turn the size up to 46, and then the damp and the width all the way up, and then just turn the mix to 15. Again, this is just going to add like a little bit of like size and kind of room to the sound. You can add a macro, or, well, we don't have any macros, but you can adjust this if you want. And then lastly, this is kind of optional, just kind of cleaned up the sound a little bit. I added a band reject filter over here so if you go to your miscellaneous filters, band reject, turn the cutoff down to 8, modulate it up 40 with LFO 1, turn the resonance up to 26, the drive down to 0, modulate it up 18, around 18 with LFO 1, and then the bandwidth of the filter is going to be 24%. And we're going to modulate the mix from 0 to 100 with LFO 1. You could tell that it's a slight difference, but it's a good difference. So like I said, the band reject, they just kind of cleaned it up a little bit. And then, one more thing, we got to do the pitch modulation. So we're going to go to LFO 2, make sure you got this little shape drawn in here, and then go to your matrix. Select an empty tab here, source LFO 2, turn it down -12 or your choice, it doesn't really matter. That's what I have it set to, but make sure it's going in downward or it won't work properly. Global, master tune, and we want it going unipolar, omnidirectional, I don't fucking know, whatever, just one way. And then the auxiliary source is going to be a macro 2, or whatever macro that you have open. And then essentially this is going to control the mix of this. So if you want to turn the pitch modulation on, you can turn it up. If you want to turn it off, boom, bang, bang. Bomb, boom, bang, bang. I don't fucking know. Then you can adjust the rate of this too. Like, play around with it, You could draw on like a longer curve if you want. Whatever. So yeah, that's basically it. And then, like I said, so now you got your timbre knob, which controls the wavetable of oscillator B. So this, again, like I said, you could play around with this. Each wavetable, like I said, gives it a slightly different timbre. So, you can, it's fully adjustable, very universal. Like I said, I think the triangle wave works the best. The triangle or the sine wave. I think the sawtooth is nice. It gives it a different, it gives it a way different sound, but again, the choice is up to you. And then, like I said, in Ableton, I have some automation drawn in for the sync knob and the LFO knob. The sync, basically, you can play with it and you'll see what it does. Essentially just changes like the pitch. And yeah, so that is basically it. And then if you want to see my automation here, like I said, for the sync, the LFO I just drew in a simple pattern, no big deal. But the big thing is the sync. And what I did, you can see right here, what this basically does, it kind of makes it sound like there's, instead of like one patch, it makes it sound like there's a couple different patches in this little demo or this loop, whatever you want to call it. And literally all I'm doing is just modulating the sync. So yeah, it's pretty simple. And again, this is just to kind of show you what you can do with this patch. If you want to maybe add your own variations to it or switch it up a little bit, you could. It's nothing too crazy, nothing out of the ordinary, just some simple FMing with some effects and shit. And then yeah, so this is what it should sound like. I obviously got some drums and shit behind it, but so yeah, and then lastly, because I'm trying to make this video short, sweet, and to the point, I don't want to make it too long. As far as post-processing goes, it is completely up to you what you want to do. I added some saturation, phaser, comb effect, and some OTT, a couple other things, but mainly saturation, distortion, overdrive. Be creative, see what you can come up with, see what makes the sound, sound good to you, I guess. But just to kind of show you, these are all Ableton stock plugins. I just got a regular saturator here. And then I also have this is just a phaser preset called Talkie. Again, it just added just a little bit, you know, something, a little spice to the sound. Kind of made it a little brighter in a weird way. And now this next one, this is really cool. If you don't have Ableton, or if you don't have Max for Live, I don't know what else would compare to this. I guess technically you could use a comb filter in Serum, but this is a little different. This is called Comer, and yeah, this is in the Max for Live audio effects somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but if you search Comer in Ableton, it's right here. And I just dragged in the default, and I just kind of played around with these settings a little bit. And again, it just added some movement. I thought it sounded really unique, really cool, and yeah, so that's that. And then obviously everyone knows OTT, some multi-band compression, and then I got a max peak limiter, which is also a Max for Live plugin. It's basically just a limiter, maximizer, whatever you want to call it. There's that, and lastly, I just got LFO tool for my sidechain, and then I threw a gate on the end over here also. Just because you'll notice once I stop the sound, there's a lot of resonance, like that tail at the end. Just to make it a little more precise, I threw this gate on here, which I'll show you. It's a little glitchy, but it definitely does help a little bit. And again, that's just optional. I mainly did that just for this tutorial, just so like the sound wasn't ringing out when I stopped it. But yeah, so I'll give you one more listen to this, and then that's basically it. I also got this other bass over here, which if you guys are interested, if you guys want to learn how to make that one, let me know in the comments. I wasn't gonna do a tutorial on that, but I could. But yeah, and that's basically all I got for you. So again, like I said, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I almost threw up. Make sure you consider doing it, and smash that thumbs up button if you did enjoy this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you didn't like it, hit that thumbs down button. The option is yours. But yeah, if you do want to see more videos like this, definitely hit the thumbs up button and let me know, you know, your thoughts and stuff. And then if you have any requests for videos, definitely let me know in the comments. If you want to learn some sound design, a specific sound, mixing, mastering, production, anything, let me know and I will make it happen. So yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. I will be posting many more, so definitely stay tuned, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.